Welcome back, Smart Start Radio family. Before we get into our latest amazing episode, we have a quick word from our sponsor. With spectacular hotels, amazing theme parks, and unparalleled entertainment, Universal Orlando Resort offers a meeting destination unlike anything else in the world. Okay, picture this. You are attending a corporate retreat at a beautiful resort. You have traveled all day, possibly crossed a few time zones. Your inbox is still gathering emails, and your first scheduled activity begins at 7 a.m. That's right, 7 a.m. It is a beachfront yoga activity. Attendance is not mandatory technically, but your boss is going and the head of whatever committee is going, and it's kind of implied that you probably should be there. And someone has already created a group chat titled Sunrise Squad. So naturally, you are going because nothing says wellness quite like waking up anxious at declining that yoga invite might impact your professional reputation.
Smart Start Radio, Smart Start Radio. Ready, set, here we go with another episode. Watch as we learn and grow. That's Smart Start Radio, Smart Start Radio. Ready, set, here we go with another episode. Watch as we learn and grow. Starting smart is an action we design. Meeting other minds, how to better use our time. Leading or seeding.
Welcome back, Smart Start Radio family. Grab your coffee, tea, matcha, water, or whatever's getting you through your planning season, because today we are talking about another aspect of wellness. More specifically, we are talking about what happens when wellness becomes another thing attendees are expected to perform. Smart Meetings editor Avery Mateo recently spoke with Robin Cruz, CEO of Wellness Tourism Association, about the organization's 6 principles for responsible retreats. The framework was created to help retreat leaders, venues, destinations, and planners evaluate experiences through 6 areas: qualified leadership and facilitation, safety and risk management, transparency and integrity, thoughtful design, inclusion, respect and care, and responsibility towards the surrounding community, culture, and environment. There is a lot planners can take away from Avery's story, particularly when it comes to sourcing retreats and vetting facilitators. But one part stopped me. Participants should feel comfortable engaging at their own pace. Activities should be voluntary. Expectations and boundaries should be clear. Individual needs, abilities, and comfort levels should be respected. And my takeaway from that is pretty simple. You cannot mandate wellness. Wellness has become a major part of the meetings and events conversation. We talk about mindfulness breaks, yoga classes, sound baths, which I love, by the way, nature walks, meditation sessions, healthier menus, and agenda designs that give attendees room to breathe. And I love that. I love when planners think about ways to infuse moments into an event where attendees can recoup some of their time or take breaths or relax, because we work so much all the time. And if we're able to design an event that incorporates time where we're able to just unclench, that's a win. On a personal note, I practice Reiki, okay, for several years now. I'm a Reiki master. Not that you guys need to care about that, but I've really worked a lot on my own personal wellness and finding ways to calm myself out in times where I might be super stressed. And I've spent a lot of time in wellness spaces, and I really believe that these experiences can be of great value to attendees if it's, available. They can help people reconnect with themselves. They can give attendees a moment of quiet in an otherwise demanding agenda. They can create space for reflection, restoration, and even deeper connection with the people around them. But those benefits depend heavily on how the experience is introduced, facilitated, and held, because wellness is not neutral for everyone. One attendee may love the idea of a guided meditation. Another may find closing their eyes in a room full of colleagues deeply uncomfortable. One person may be excited about a group hike. Another may have a mobility concern they do not want to explain publicly. Someone may find a facilitated sharing circle meaningful. Someone may not want to discuss their emotions with the person who approves their expense reports. Neither response is wrong. A wellness experience can stop feeling supportive when it assumes everyone has the same body, boundaries, beliefs, comfort level, or relationship with vulnerability. And it becomes especially complicated in a corporate environment where the line between invitation and expectation can become very blurry. And I've mentioned this before, I think, in a previous podcast where I signed up for a 7 a.m. yoga session and I was going to go. I was excited about it. And then I realized that, the evening that was planned ended late. And I knew the minute I was on the shuttle ride back to my room, I was like, there's no way I'm getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like the sun wasn't even up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like, no, I'm not doing this to myself. Like I know my boundaries. I know my body. And if I force myself to do this, I'm going to be unhappy the rest of the day. It's just not going to happen. Now let's talk about the word optional, because corporate optional and actual optional are not always the same thing. An activity can be labeled optional on the agenda, and if senior leadership attends, the entire team is encouraged to participate, and the photos are later circulated as evidence of company culture. Attendees may still feel pressure to join. They may worry that opting out will make them appear antisocial, disengaged, or unwilling to be part of the team. This is not really a choice. This is mandatory participation, wearing a softer outfit. Let's be clear. This is mandatory participation, wearing a softer outfit. This is where psychological safety becomes part of event design. Avery Storr explains that psychological safety begins before participants ever arrive. Clear event communication, intentional program design, appropriate safety practices, and an understanding of attendee needs all help create a responsible experience. This means planners cannot simply put optional wellness activity on the agenda and assume the work is finished. What is the activity being described? Are attendees told what it involves? Do they know whether physical touch, emotional disclosure, or strenuous movement may be involved? Can they leave during the experience without being singled out? Is there an equally appealing alternative? Are company leaders making it clear that participation has no connection to professional commitment or team loyalty? And perhaps most importantly, does the person leading the experience understand the difference between facilitating a public wellness activity and working with a private group of employees? It's very important to distinguish that we have choice. We have the ability to say no, thank you, or if we can excuse ourselves, because if we don't have a say in how we engage a moment, if there is no clear sense of optional in the equation, then you are removing a person's sense and ability and control over their own moment and choices. And that immediately, it brings into question how leadership views team boundaries. Does it respect team boundaries? If people feel uncomfortable, if people feel like they aren't being heard and being respected, that goes beyond the moment of the wellness. This goes to a deeper conversation of, do you respect your team outside of this moment? Is your team being respected in the workplace? It's a bigger problem then, if we're being totally honest. If they're not able to say no, thank you, that's a bigger conversation. It's a huge conversation to be had. Planners know how to evaluate meeting space. You look at capacity, accessibility, food, beverage, audiovisual capabilities, emergency procedures, and how people will move through the property. But wellness programming requires another level of sourcing. You also have to evaluate the human being delivering the experience. The Wellness Tourism Association's full framework goes even deeper, asking retreat providers to consider areas such as professional liability insurance, emergency protocols, participant health screening, informed consent, confidentiality, and health professional boundaries. Avery Storr translates these principles into practical sourcing questions for planners. Does the facilitator have the right qualifications, experience, and approach for this particular audience? How are safety, accessibility, and inclusion being considered? How do the venue, destination, and facilitator work together to support the experience? That matters because a beautiful resort does not automatically make every activity offered there appropriate for your group. The venue alone does not create a meaningful retreat. The quality of the leadership, facilitation, program design, and alignment between partners shapes the participant experience. You would vet the person handling your production. You would vet the company providing transportation. You would vet the kitchen handling a serious dietary requirement. The person guiding attendees through a potentially physical, emotionally, or psychologically vulnerable experience deserve the same level of scrutiny. What are they qualified to do? What are they not qualified to do? How do they respond when someone becomes uncomfortable? How do they protect confidentiality? How do they adapt an experience for different bodies, backgrounds, and abilities? And are they making promises the activity cannot responsibly fulfill? Because there's a difference between saying an experience may help attendees relax and promising that it will heal trauma, eliminate burnout, or transform someone's life. Okay, this is very important. Because when I practice Reiki on people, I tell them straight up, it's not like a magical healing thing. It doesn't like fix you overnight. It's not like a one-time experience where I do it to you and you're done and you're good. It's not how that works. I would be a horrible practitioner if I said that. No, you can't say that kind of stuff to people. It's just not a good idea. Responsible practitioners of any kind, wellness, in any capacity, cannot make promises they cannot provide. Another point from Avery's story that I really appreciate is the idea that wellness should not simply be an activity add to an event. Well-being can influence the location, pace, environment, food, facilitation, structure of the entire program, because you cannot schedule a 20-minute meditation between 9 hours of back-to-back sessions and declare the agenda restorative. You cannot give attendees a green juice whilst denying them enough time to sit down and drink it. You cannot hold a session about burnout and then send 6 follow-up emails before everyone has left the ballroom. Sometimes the most meaningful wellness decision is not adding another activation. It is ending the day early. It is providing a real lunch break. It is building transition time between sessions. It is giving attendees a quiet place where they do not have to network. It is providing food people can actually eat. It is letting people sleep. It is recognizing that rest does not always need to become another scheduled group experience. A sound bath might be wonderful. So might an unscheduled hour alone in the hotel room. The goal should not be to create the most viable wellness agenda. So here are 3 things Avery's story has me thinking about. First, audit your agenda for pressure. Look beyond whether an activity is officially required. Ask whether your language, leadership, participation, or company culture could make attendees feel obliged to join. Make opting out easy, private, and genuinely consequence-free. Second, vet the facilitator as carefully as the venue. Ask about qualifications, experience, insurance, safety procedures, professional boundaries, and how the facilitator adopts the program for corporate audience. Do not assume a consumer wellness experience can simply be copied and pasted into a company retreat. Third, design for well-being instead of decorating with wellness. Consider the pace of the agenda, the food, the physical environment, accessibility, communication, and the amount of unstructured time attendees are given. Wellness should not be one session. It should be reflected in how the entire experience feels. So, in closing, a retreat is not restorative simply because yoga appears on the agenda, okay? It becomes restorative when attendees feel safe, informed, respected, and free to listen to what they actually need. Sometimes that might be yoga. Sometimes it might be meditation, movement, time spent connecting with colleagues. And sometimes it might be signing up for a 7 a.m. yoga class, hearing the alarm go off, and deciding that your personal wellness journey begins with turning it off, like me. That is not disengagement, though. That is an attendee exercising the very self-awareness the wellness program is supposed to encourage. You can read Avery Mateo's full story, Wellness Tourism Association Releases Responsible Retreats Framework, at smartmeetings.com. And once again, I'm Amy Piancai, and this has been another edition of Smart Start Radio Coffee Chat. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
A Smart Start Radio, Smart Start Radio. Ready, set, here we go with another episode. Watch as we learn and grow. A Smart Start Radio, Smart Start Radio. Ready, set, here we go with another episode. Watch as we learn and grow. Starting smart is the action we design. Meeting other minds, how to better use our time. Leading, interceding, proceeding, they divine. It's believing, they conceding, so it goes on more.
You've been listening to Smart Start Radio, a Smart Meetings production. Interested in being our next guest? Connect with us at editor@smartmeetings.com.